All right, pleased to be joined now by Brennan Mense, the voice of the Daytona Tortugas. Brennan, kind enough to join us during his All-Star break. For I think the third consecutive year we've had you on here during the All-Star break to talk a little Daytona Tortugas. Brennan, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, doing good, doing good. Excited to talk about a team that's maybe playing the best baseball right now of anyone in the Reds minor league system. 12-7 in the second half. How it works in the Florida State League. Looks like you guys got a 4-game lead for a second half playoff spot.
Yes, so far so good in that regard. I won't go so far to say best in the minor league system right now, but definitely best ball the Tortugas have played during real extended stretch they played this season. That's for sure. Just coming off a 4 out of 5 against Jupiter, had Sunday's game wiped away, but otherwise a very nice finish going into the All-Star break. Currently sitting at 12-7 in the FSL East, and St. Lucie Mets currently still above the Tortugas, but St. Lucie won the first half, so whatever they do in the second half is completely irrelevant. As of right now, indeed, you're right. The Tortugas sitting 4 games clear of a playoff spot. So we saw that last year. Tortugas finished a very, very distant second to Palm Beach, who won both halves. So kind of backed in the playoffs last year, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, we were all excited about it, but it's not quite the same as outright winning a half. So certainly that's still the goal, is to win that half outright, and that could still very well happen. I mean, St. Lucie's been hit with a lot of guys getting moved up on down the line, so maybe that will eventually catch up to them. Maybe not, but all in all, things are looking good right now, and playing a lot of very good baseball right now. So can't complain too much about how things are shaking out so far.
The Tortugas made the postseason last year. Was it Palm Beach? I know they ran into
Yeah.
a really juggernaut minor league team last year.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you more in general. I got the privilege of going to one of the Dayton Dragons minor league postseason games last year, actually on the road, and I thought the environment was really cool for a minor league postseason game. I know that for the Tortugas, it kind of went off the rails really quick, I believe, in those games. But what was the environment like for those games? Was those the first postseason games you got to call?
First ones I've gotten to call here. I've called some postseason games and other stops before then, so nothing that was too unfamiliar to me. Um, I remember in terms of the actual games, I mean, it didn't go well. Game one, we fell behind the top of the first and never recovered. Game two, we tied the game in the top of the fifth and turned around and gave up 8 runs in the bottom of the fifth, and there's your series right there. In terms of the environments of them, so the game we had in Daytona, we managed to sell about 1,200 tickets on 4 days' notice, which, considering we averaged about 1,600 a game last year, and especially just in Florida State League, that's a pretty good number for a playoff game. It went pretty well. Um, Palm Beach, I mean, there's not to dump on them or anything, just how it is there. I mean, most nights it's just a smattering of people there, and that was how it was the playoff game. So, and that unfortunately is the way it is in most minor league cities, is that it's very, very hard to draw for the playoffs, especially on such short notice. And that's just kind of how it was. I mean, the environment was just kind of, and it didn't surprise me. There wasn't much of it, but it's just how it is, unfortunately, these day and age, trying to get people out for playoff games.
Yeah, during the week too, I think.
Yeah, we were on a Tuesday night in Daytona, Thursday in Palm Beach.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely a little bit of a struggle. All right, let's get to this year's team. I want to ask you first about a player that's already gone, but maybe one of the most impressive seasons, in my opinion, in the Reds minor league system, Carlos Sanchez. I don't know if this is fair to characterize, but you maybe got to see the worst of Carlos Sanchez last year and maybe the best of him this year. A really impressive turnaround. I know the injuries played a lot probably into that.
Yes and no. So yes, there definitely was an injury for Carlos that took away a good chunk of last year. But he showed up. First of all, he came here being Daytona. I'm not in Daytona right now, but anyways, that's beside the point. So he came to Daytona very last week at 23, and do with that as you want. Just played 4 games here, then started Daytona in 24, and the first month of the season, I mean, you could tell, yes, he was working the count a lot, drew a fair amount of walks, but when he was forced to try to put the bat on the ball, it was a struggle. He struck out a lot, and with the balls he was putting into play, he was beating him into the ground. Just not a lot of hard contact, not a lot of elevation, not even a lot of line drives. It's just beating the ball into the ground. And I remember seeing something that when he went on the IL last year, he had the lowest average exit velocity of anyone in the entire Reds minor league system. So that wasn't going to cut it. And when he came off the IL, he actually stayed in Arizona. He was outright assigned to the ACL Reds for probably about another month. And then he came back here in August, and the overall numbers still not being great. I mean, he hit 210 a year ago and unimpressive OP, yeah, 589 OPS last year. I mean, on base percentage was 356, not a bad number there. So, I mean, still was drawing walks, but still was striking out a lot, and still didn't have a lot of pop. But he was definitely better when he got back later in the year last year. But my oh my, once this year started, he was a completely different player. I mean, just hitting the ball a lot harder. He was hitting it, a lot of line drives the other way, and it was impressive to me too. Is just how much he was hitting the ball the opposite way for power. Hit 4 homers here. 3 of the 4 went over the left field fence. A lot of balls that were getting smoked on the left field line, left center gap, and when teams started adjusting and swinging their outfield way over to the left side, okay, he'd go spray a ball in the right center gap instead. And still was drawing a lot of walks. He cut down the strikeout rate. I mean, all in all, I mean, you look at Sanchez's line. I mean, the stat sheet tells the story. I mean, he was night and day a different player from what we saw last year. So undoubtedly a extremely well-deserved promotion for him. And he's continued to play well once he's gotten to Dayton as well. So that doesn't shock me. I mean, he's turned a corner. He's turned a corner, to say the least.
He's played a lot of different positions, I think mostly at third base. Do you think he's a guy that maybe has the chance to stick at third base, or is he maybe a guy that would profile better as a guy that maybe moves around?
Uh, Hard to say on that. He definitely has the arm to stay at third base. And that was one thing that also got better this year, his defense. And I know last year he was starting at third base to begin the year, and it was a little shaky. It was a little shaky. I think there was a game he had 3 errors in a game
Huh.
right before he went on the IL. And but that was a lot better this year. He's shown off a very good arm, I mean, good range. He's made some very nice plays, and I mean, he has the athleticism to do it and the arm to do it. So obviously, it's just remains to be seen how it plays up the system. And of course, with what other guys end up in front of him, that's going to dictate a lot in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's move on to the two probably headliners that most even casual Reds fans know down at Daytona. Of course, Alfredo Duno and Sammy Stafura. Alfredo Duno, fresh off the Futures game. You haven't seen him in a few days, but putting up some pretty impressive numbers, especially when you have to put in the context of the Florida State League. I don't know. Is an 850 OPS in the Florida State League like almost a 950 OPS other places?
I don't know about that kind of conversion there, but it's definitely an impressive one here. I mean, I'll pull up the numbers just to for proper context here. So an 853 OPS, that's where he's at right now. That's third in the league of qualified hitters. Now, granted, there's a few guys like Connor Griffin. Like Connor Griffin a few days ago just came off the qualified list. So take that with a big grain of salt. But 853 OPS is third in the league. Carlos Sanchez is second at 878. So do with those numbers as you will. But yeah, he's having a very nice season, um, and the man's just getting on base. Obviously, he can hit the ball hard, and when he elevates one, oh my, can go a long ways. But and he's shown a very good approach at the plate and not being afraid to lay off pitches, take walks. And right now he's on a 36 game on base streak. That's the longest in Tortugas history. And he's kind of slowed down a little bit towards the end of that. But I remember there was about a 25 game stretch where he had an on base percentage, not OPS, on base percentage over 500. So, and he's just found ways to get on base. And really, it was unfortunate last year. He had a broken rib that ended the season around Memorial Day, and so that just you hate to see something like that. But he's shown absolutely no ill effects of that, and he's uh he's been very fun to watch, to say the very least.
Defensively, where is he at? Has there been improvements? Is there still things that he needs to work on?
There's definitely some room for improvement there. He's shown a good arm. He's thrown out a fair amount of base runners this season. Still is a little scattershot time to time when throwing the ball, but that regard, I think he is doing okay there. His receiving definitely could use a little bit of work. Fair amount of pass balls this year. That's something you, of course, never want to see from a catcher. And it seems like it kind of comes and goes with him, too, that he'll have a few games where for some reason it's just struggling to squeeze the ball consistently and getting a few that slip past. And then, go for a week time where nothing looks particularly wrong behind the plate. I mean, at least to the naked eye, nothing looks particularly wrong. So, but at the same time, you got to remember he's 19 years old. This is his first full professional season he's been behind the plate, because remember, 2022, he was in the DSL, his first pro season. He did not catch a single inning. He was DHing the entire season because he had a shoulder injury before that. So he did not catch an entire inning. His first professional inning he caught was in Daytona as an 18-year-old, second day of the season last year. And of course, last year's season ended in May. So he had 2 months of in-game catching experience as a professional before this season. And again, he's still only 19 years old. He is the youngest position player on this team still, despite this being his second season here.
Youngest position player playing the most probably demanding defensive position. So
Yeah.
that's certainly impressive.
Deep South Commodities is a proud supporter of Chatterbox Reds and our Deep Drive of the Day, and DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC. And we also want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health. Whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between, it's a 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay.
The other guy, Sammy Stafura, I think he's also been an on-base guy. He's had a pretty long on-base streak, if I remember right. Having a good year, maybe hasn't shown as much power as you might hope. Do you think that might still come for him?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly has shown more gap power, I'd say, this year in terms of, getting the ball to the fence. Yeah, he can do it from time to time. And we haven't seen him homer in a little while, but man's hit 8 triples. That's second most in the league, and 14 doubles on top of that. So he absolutely has the ability to spray the ball in the gaps, and excellent speed. He's stolen 24 bases in 29 attempts on top of that. So if you can hit the ball in the gap and you can run well, then, well, okay, not hitting 20 homers is not as concerning if you can hit 30 doubles and 10 triples instead. You can still work with that. So still certainly a work in progress constant wise. He's definitely a little streaky. And it seemed like that of lately, in the last couple of games, he started putting together some better at-bats, but lately it did kind of seem like that he was in a bit of a funk at the plate, and still was finding some ways to get on base, drawing some walks, but just was struggling to really just be able to time up pitches correctly and be able to hit the ball hard. So hopefully that's just something that's a minor blip that he can work through it. And again, he was drafted out of high school, so he's still only 20 years old. So take that with a grain of salt that he's in his second full season and is still young for this level.
How's he been defensively at shortstop?
Very good. Very good. And he's shown off very good range, and he too has very good arm. And he's a guy that defensively he looks the part, and it would not surprise me if he ends up sticking at shortstop down the line. And that, as of right now, that's the plan. He has not played a single inning defensively anywhere besides shortstop this season. So that seems to clearly indicate to me that that's where the Reds want him to stick at. And from what I've seen so far, I don't see a reason why they should move him off the position. Now, granted, obviously anyone who pays attention to the Reds organization, there's a lot of shortstops in the system. And of course, they just drafted another one, Steele Hall, a couple days ago. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to immediately think Sammy Stafura with that high school shortstop, highly drafted profile. But yeah, obviously what happens with the guys that are in front of them are one story, but taking that out of the context, I think that he is going to stick at shortstop, at least for the foreseeable future, really.
That's great to hear about his defense. That's certainly very encouraging. On the offensive side, is there any other players that you feel like Reds fans need to know about?
Yeah, there's a few guys that have certainly had some very interesting seasons for different reasons. One guy who's unfortunately is currently on the injured list, and but a guy that has been exciting to watch for a different reason is Kyle Henley, who's hit the top of the order much of this season, and unfortunately, the contact side needs some work. Um, Guy swung and missed a lot, but when he has found his way on base, the dude can run. He leads the league in stolen bases. He's stolen 36 this year. When he gets back, he is going to break the Tortugas single season record of 37. So it's just a matter of time for that. Um, yeah, dude can fly, and he plays a good center field on top of that. So if he can kind of get the bat straightened out, he's a guy that I think could be a electrifying outfielder to watch. I mean, he's a true center fielder, and he hasn't played an inning anywhere else besides center field. So that's a fun guy to watch. Another guy that he's listed as a catcher, but has played a lot of first base. He's DH'd a lot. That I think is worth watching as well as Ryan McCrystal, who first full pro season, he was drafted, I think, 9th round out of East Carolina a year ago, and got off to a bit of a sluggish start this season, but he's now hitting over 300 for the year. He's hitting a lot of line drives in the gap. He's got legitimate gap to gap power. And I mean, right now, 819 OPS and putting the bat on the ball, not striking out much. And he's kind of learning how to, I wouldn't say learning on the fly how to play first base. He played a little bit of first base in college, but it certainly is helpful, whether it be first base or behind the plate as well. I think he's a guy that could be worth watching to see if he may become one of those guys that kind of comes from off the radar to become a legitimate major league prospect. He's a guy that I've really enjoyed watching, and he had an absolutely great month of June and hasn't slowed down at all once July hit either.
All right, on the pitching side, I mean, unfortunately for the Tortugas, a lot of the top prospects and a lot of the high draft picks seem like they've all gotten hurt and out for the year. Ty Floyd out for the year, Laureano out for the year. You got Tristan Smith on the IL right now, Luke Holman. Kind of a bummer for some of those top prospects that you were expecting. But on the pitching side, maybe who's been impressive? Who should we keep our eyes on there?
Yeah, well, you said there, hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of guys that have, just been hit by the injury bug, and it's really unfortunate. And I mean, Ty Floyd was really fun to see him pitch. Great guy as well. So, and you hate to see anyone go down. You especially hate to see guys who are pitching well go down. You especially hate to see guys who are pitching well and are also great guys just talking to you in the clubhouse, anything. And Ty fits all those categories. So that was one that really made a lot of people sad to see that. And I mean, Luke Holman got 2 stars before he went down for the season. So that was very unfortunate as well. So unfortunately, it's been a trying year on the pitching staff. Allowed the second most runs in the league. It's not the only thing that matters, but at the end of the day, your job is to prevent the other team from scoring. And unfortunately, it's been a bit of a tricky year and that happening. So there's been some interesting moving parts, but there are certainly some guys that have started to turn things around recently as well, and particularly a couple of guys that got off to really slow starts that have just flipped the switch. And those guys that I've looked at, particular Cole Schoenwetter, who I mean, he was a 4th rounder in 23 that got a lot of money to not go to college, and been a little bit disappointing perhaps for some, but towards the end of June, he started really figuring some stuff out. His command got a lot better, started putting together a lot better outings. So hopefully that's a sign of things. And he's only 20 years old. So hopefully it's a sign that he's putting some things together and turning things around. Otis Portes got off to a slow start, but I mean, he had a stretch where he just completely flipped the switch. And our pitching coach, Jason Emicus, just saying he learned how to trust his stuff more. And all of a sudden his command just completely turned a 180 overnight, put in a real nice 4-start stretch where he allowed 2 hits in 14 innings. The one guy I'd look at to say that's really been a breakout arm, though, is JP Ortiz, who's right-hander out of Puerto Rico. He was drafted out of junior college as a draft and follow guy, in 23. So he didn't sign or begin his pro career until 24, and came up here towards the end of last season. He's been here since day one this season, and started off as a tandem guy, bulk relief guy in the bullpen, working behind Kenya Huggins. He has now kind of started to fill in the starting rotation, working for Kenya and working in front of Kenya now, I should say. And he's had a very nice year, 2.42 ERA. He leads the team in innings and strikeouts, hasn't allowed very many hits. Opponents batting only .213 against them. Walk numbers are pretty good. He's been a guy that, I mean, as far as prospect love, probably going to remain a little bit off the radar, but unless you look at the results, and you can't complain with anything you see there, he's been definitely the breakout guy on the staff, that's for sure.
All right. Well, Brennan, really do appreciate your time. Looking forward to following the Tortugas here in the second half. See if they can be the second Reds affiliate to clinch a playoff spot this year.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens. So certainly a lot that will develop between now and second week of September, but it'll be fun to see how that all shakes out.